got such a like Chuck Berry thing to it. I really love that riff. What's up guys, my name is Guillaume and welcome to this new episode of Hit the Tone. What's up guys, I hope you're all doing fantastic today and welcome to this new episode of Hit the Tone on Thomann's Guitars and Basses. If you're new around here, I'll link the entire playlist in the description box down below, but I'm sure I've already covered your favorite song. If not, just leave it in the comment section down below and I'll get to you as soon as I can. And while you're down there, if you can consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, that would be wonderful. Thank you so very much in advance. But with that said, let's start with today's song, which is Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones. Alright, I can't really believe that it took me a year and some to actually get into the Rolling Stones. I didn't really think about it, to be honest, until someone commented it, and I was like, how have I not done this yet? How have I not talked about Keith Richards, right? So, I'm correcting that today by doing that song, which was the one requested. A bit later on, if you more familiar with early Stones, that was Tattoo You, that was early 80s. A different sound. Definitely, and different gear as well, so we're going to talk about that. Starting with the guitar. Today I'm going to be using this Squier Telecaster Custom just because it's pretty and it fits the bill to some extent. Obviously Keith Richards has a number of vintage Telecasters, Mick Huber, Malcolm, some other names that escape me right now, but basically all the same setup with a single coil in the bridge and a PAF or some sort of humbucker in the neck. Now, I'm not too sure about this, and I'd like you guys to tell me if you do know, but I do think that his guitars are wired differently, meaning that the selector is always on the bridge position, but I'm thinking the bridge position on his Tele is both bridge and neck pickup. I don't know why. I have a feeling that, to me, that would legitimate sort of the presence of a neck pickup. I'm not sure about this. Do tell me if you know. Otherwise, I'll be playing in the bridge position for that particular song. Now let's have a look at our amp and pedal setup. As I was saying, this song comes later on in the Rolling Stones career, so I think 81, so vastly different kind of sound that what would usually be associated with Keith Richards. But that particular record was made with a Mesa Boogie Mark I combo. He's never been big on effects, although he's been credited with being like the first one to actually use fuzz on Satisfaction, obviously, but with this exception and a few others, it wasn't big on effects, so guitar into the amp. That being said, I'm using my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe Tweed Edition today. As usual, the controls will be on your screen. And although it is an American sounding amp, it has a vastly different type of breakup sound. And that one doesn't work so well. So to help with this, I'm going to use the Wampler Pantheon Overdrive, which is one of my absolute favorite low gain overdrives. As you'll see on the controls, I'm not shaping the EQ at all. I took down some of the treble that was inherent with the pedal, really. Volume is pretty much at unity and gain is at 9 o'clock on the low overdrive mode and low sort of softer overdrive voice. I just want to emulate a very slight breakup that is present on his sound. And finally, there's definitely some sort of a reverb that's present on the recording. I couldn't possibly tell you if it's the amp reverb or if it was added in post. Again, that's really hard to say. But in my particular situation, I'm just using a little bit of the amp's reverb. If you've got a pedal with a spring reverb or something very traditional, not too much of a decay or anything, go for that. I'm sure it'll do just fine. And that guitar into that pedal, into that amp is gonna take me there. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that sound and I'm gonna jump onto the final part of that video, which as usual is the most important and is how to play the riff. And we're going to start with the obvious and a guitar that only has 5 strings. That's something, again, that Keith Richards is really famous for, is his open G tuning, which a lot of other bands have been doing. I know like Joe Perry, for example, in Aerosmith, does that. He's got the open G going on from the 5th string, but he tunes the low E down to G, an octave down, to have like a growl to it. It's really cool. But essentially, if you're new to open tunings, you're gonna want to take your E standard guitar and tune that string to G, that to D, that to G, that stays a B, and that E down to a D. Essentially giving you just a big G major chord. So that's going to be your tuning for that song, and then we're going to have a look at our fretting hand. Now, Keith Richards has been very often, sadly, I don't know if it's well-deserved or not, but a bit of a lazy guitar player in that sense. Legend among guitar players, but kind of also in that why work harder pocket where you'd find Billy Gibbons using 7-gauge strings and that kind of stuff. Why work harder doing weird chord shapes where if you just tune your guitar that way, you do that and you have a major chord. So I think that's a great song for people who want to get into alternate tunings and open tunings and that kind of stuff, and get a good grasp as to where is your major, where's your minor, and how to navigate these chords in open tuning. But with that said, let's have a look at the picking side of it. Again, nothing too fancy on this side. I think that's part of what makes that riff so catchy, so groovy. It's such a great hook. It doesn't have to be complicated to be efficient, and that's the story of Keith Richards' guitar playing, I think. It's just like an insane riff machine. But on that, I think that's it, guys. You have all the tools you need to hit the tone on Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones. I hope you appreciated that episode and that maybe you've learned a thing or two today. If so, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. That would be phenomenal. Thank you so much in advance. Don't forget to let me know in the comments which song you'd like to see here next, and I'll get to your request as soon as I possibly can. In the meantime, I wish you all a fantastic week, and I'll see you next Monday in a new episode of Hit the Tone.